Yo, what's going on? Mike from Mike Talk Sports. In the fight that shocked the fight world last night, Dricus du Plessis takes down Robert Whittaker at the end of round one and absolutely batters him, has him very hurt going into round two. And in the middle of round two, Dricus du Plessis lands a big jab, a right-hand jab that stuns Whittaker very badly, has him up against the cage. Du Plessis lands another really nice hook to the body, a hook to the head, drops Whittaker, and knocks him out. So in today's video, I'm going to be analyzing the career of Robert Whittaker in order to answer the question, how bad is Robert Whittaker's chin actually, and how durable is Robert Whittaker compared to the other top 15 fighters in the middleweight division and compared to the entire UFC roster. So last night was Robert Whittaker's 7th loss of his career, and 3 of those 7 losses have come by knockout. Of course, Dricus du Plessis was last night. Israel Adesanya in their first matchup knocked out Robert Whittaker, and then Stephen Wonderboy Thompson all the way back in the day knocked him out with punches. So, of course, you can be dropped and your chin can be tested in other fights that were not losses via KO. So let me go over some of the history with Robert Whittaker, some of his good moments with his chin, and some of his bad moments with his chin. The Darren Till fight for Whittaker really did not age well, as he looked really bad in that first round and he got dropped really badly 2 minutes into the fight with Darren Till, who at that point in his career was already on a sharp decline. He had already not had knockout power. In fact, Darren Till, in 5 of his 6 last UFC fights, really did not have a moment of him dropping anybody except for this Whittaker fight. So definitely not a good look for Whittaker's chin, getting dropped by Darren Till very quickly in that fight. Now, Till went on to land a couple more good shots throughout this 5-round fight, and it did not stun or drop Whittaker, so I will give him some credit there. But for the most part, the thing is about Robert Whittaker, he has that karate style of fighting where his hands are going to be basically by his hips. He barely utilizes his guard to block shots, rather, he will block his shots with head movement, and he does a phenomenal job doing so. So Whittaker is rarely hit flush. The thing is, and really the point of this video, every time he is hit flush, he is stunned really badly, and he's either extremely close to getting knocked out or he outright gets knocked out. So then you, of course, have the Kevin Gastelum fight where Robert Whittaker looked absolutely incredible, was 10 steps ahead Gastelum at all time. But Gastelum, despite really not landing much in this fight, landed a couple of combinations in round 2 and had Whittaker on very wobbly legs in round 2. Then you have the Jared Cannonier fight. Really same story. Cannonier was never really able to land the jaw of Whittaker, but despite this, there was a moment where Whittaker was significantly hurt in this fight. Very early on in this fight, Cannonier dropped Whittaker with a leg kick in round 1. So this obviously isn't his chin, but this speaks to his overall lack of durability. Now you, of course, have the 2 notorious all-time Robert Whittaker versus Yoel Romero fights. Now, I'll be completely honest, guys. Yoel Romero is my all-time least favorite fighter to watch in MMA history. I think he's the most overrated watch in MMA history. He's so boring. He genuinely has such a low output, and this was definitely the case in Yoel Romero versus Robert Whittaker 1, as he officially landed 20 head strikes, but let me tell you guys, all 20 of these head strikes, I kid you not, were on the ground. They were very short, just straight punches when Romero was successfully taking Whittaker down and landing some pot shots on the ground. So this fight is an absolutely terrible representation of Whittaker's chin, as it really just was not tested at all throughout 5 rounds. One thing to note though, Romero genuinely did nothing in the entire first round of this fight. 3 minutes into the first round, lands his first strike. His first strike was a leg kick to Robert Whittaker that significantly stunned Robert Whittaker and dropped him very shortly in the first round. With 1 strike, he was dropped from a leg strike. When Robert Whittaker went to the corner, he said, and I quote, "My leg is completely trashed." So the fact that Robert Whittaker in the first Romero fight, his leg was, and I quote, completely trashed after 1 strike is honestly absolutely pathetic. I know it's Yoel Romero. I know he's made of steel, but come on, dude. You're in a interim championship fight and you get rocked and dropped from 1 leg kick. Honestly pathetic. So then there is Yoel Romero versus Robert Whittaker number 2, and Romero lands significantly more strikes on the head of Robert Whittaker in this fight. He officially lands 76 head strikes, but I rewatched this fight for this video. The vast majority of these head strikes come in round 3, 4, and 5, and the majority of these head strikes are not on the feet. They're again on the ground, him just landing little pot shots, little short shots that really do not do anything to Robert Whittaker. So in fact, he does show somewhat of a good chin in the later rounds of this fight, but I kid you not, Romero does not land a single clean shot for 2 rounds. And in the beginning of round 3, Romero lands his first good headshot on the feet as he lands a nice jab followed by a nice right hand hook / straight, and Romero dropped him so hard. So basically the first combination Romero landed in the entire fight stunned and dropped Whittaker so badly and had Rob recovering and fighting for dear life for the rest of that round. And then of course I alluded to it earlier, but you do have that Stephen Wonderboy Thompson fight where Stephen Wonderboy Thompson really is not known for KO power in his hands. Rather, he's known for KO power in his feet and in his legs, but yet he dropped and stunned and knocked out Whittaker with his hands. Now, I get it. Wonderboy Thompson was on a bit of a KO run early on in his days, so I won't give Whittaker too much shit for this, but nonetheless, not a KO loss that aged too poorly. And I'm sure I'm definitely glancing over some fights in some moments where Whittaker in fact does show a pretty good chin, but for the most part, Whittaker just does a phenomenal job at not getting hit and not taking damage on the head in fights. And just a common pattern of his entire career is Rob doing an incredible job of evading strikes, but once he eats 1 or 2 clean strikes, then he goes down. Now, he does have a pretty solid, I would say about average ability to recover from big blows, but that chin is not good. He gets stunned pretty consistently in his fights, win or loss. So I would say on a UFC average, he has a slightly below UFC average chin. Now, more importantly, how does he rank in the top 15 of 185ers? Guys, I would read out the entire list of 185ers. It's not even worth reading. I was honestly surprised when I went down the list and looked at every single top 185er, and none of them even came close to the level of chin Robert Whittaker has. In fact, 185 has some of the best chins in all of the UFC, with guys like Paulo Costa. Israel Adesanya has a very underrated chin. Sean Strickland has never shown to have a bad chin except for the Alex Pereira fight. Obviously, Marvin Vettori has the fucking best chin in MMA history. I mean, you have guys, Roman Dolezzi even has a good chin. Guys at 185 have such good chins. Obviously, you had Yoel Romero back in the day as well, but Whittaker, man, he really stands out of every single 185er to have by far the worst chin out of that entire division. So to answer the question of the video, how bad is Robert Whittaker's chin? Actually, it is the worst in the 185 division. Thanks for listening. Let me know in the comment section below, do you agree or disagree with my take that Rob has the worst chin at 185 in the UFC?